Hello, my name is Eric Normand, and I run a business called purelyfunctional.tv. This is my vlog where I discuss what I'm working on, what I'm up to, what I'm thinking about, my challenges that I'm facing as I build this business. So if you've been following the vlog, you know that right now I'm really thinking about systematizing. I started doubling down on that last week. It's always in the back of my mind, but I realized how important it is to what I'm doing right now. I've actually got a ton of projects. It's kind of juggling all these balls at the moment, and it's sometimes feels overwhelming. Like I'll make progress on 2 of them, and then on 3 of them I feel like there's no progress, and so it was a failure of the day, and so I'm just doing a whole bunch of research, reading blog posts, reading books, talking to people about systematizing, just immersing myself in it, because I've kind of tried in the past and just not gotten anywhere. So my thing right now, the thing I'm thinking about is what projects are so systematic right now that I could hire and train someone and pay to do that project and just kind of keep it in maintenance mode. And the question is, how much of that could be automated instead of hired and all of that. But at the moment, I'm really trying to think of some project that I'm doing right now that could be that, and whether something is close and I could turn it into that. So I just launched a podcast this morning, and my assistant and I are writing the procedures for everything that needs to run. And it's not that much, honestly. I guess it's really easy nowadays to make a podcast, but it requires I think a human touch. I don't think I could automate it. And so I am going to try to find someone to do it. I want to automate like the majority of it, let's say. But some things are just a little harder to automate. I'd love to just have someone that could sit there and automate it for me. That would be the best, but I'm not hopeful about that. Most people with programming skills can make so much money just getting a regular job that they wouldn't want something like this, unless they were like an intern looking to get business skills and getting, direct experience building a business. Okay, so this is where it's really tough, is this podcast. What my main concern should be at the moment is actually finding something like this and carving it off of my plate. Because if I just think of the automation of the podcast as yet another project, then it too is going to just take all of my time, and or some of my time, and I just need something that I can finish and have in real maintenance mode. And perhaps to start off, I can use my current assistant and say, here are the 3 tasks you need to do weekly to maintain this podcast, and just give me a report on Monday or whatever day that's, these are the 3 metrics and it's working, and etc. So I need to sit down and make that happen today. I think 90% of it could be automated, and then 10%, no, 5%, maybe less than that, would be on me because I'm producing the content, I'm recording it. So it could be just like writing a 2-line description of what I talked about in the podcast. And so that would become the description that gets sent out in the RSS feed. And then everything else could be put together automatically. And then I would just have my assistant doing various routine chores on it. And this will be a good experiment into how little work can actually be done with. Because once you systematize something, it becomes very easy to program. Like one thing that I've got very systematic right now is my newsletter. And in fact, it's so systematic that most of the work, 90% of it is the content production. It's not anything, that doesn't create the value of it. Like, I've got a piece of software that checks all the links to make sure that they're good. It will generate the HTML from Markdown. It'll create the post on my site, and it'll generate the email. Unfortunately, there's no API in the email software I use, so it can't schedule the email, but then it's another few minutes clicking through the UI and copy pasting to get that done. And of course, that few minutes, like at some point, it's not really worth sending it off to another person, even though it's a few minutes of my time to send it off to an assistant to do, and that means I have to do it ahead of time so that they have time to do it and put it into their schedule. It's really not worth the handoff there. There's a principle in lean manufacturing that you want to reduce the number of handoffs, and I think that's wise. If you can just finish it and get it done yourself instead of handing it off to someone and then waiting for them to do it and then communicating about whether it got done, and then you have like this other person to blame for it not being done. Like, there's all sorts of issues with the handoff that you've got it in your head. You just finished the issue. Just go through and finish it to the end. And I would love to do that with the podcast. The issue with it at the moment is that the transcript, I don't want to do the transcript. It's something that takes too long. It's not like a couple minutes. And it's so easy to send that to someone to do in a week. So that's what I'm focusing on right now is like how to automate all this, like putting together of everything. And what I'm thinking now is to automate it. I'm using Zapier a little bit. Zapier can take the YouTube video that I record for the podcast and post it to get the transcript. But I could wait until the transcript is done, because I'm ahead right now. I'm ahead on the publication schedule. As long as I stay ahead, I can have it generate a Trello card which my assistant would then take and I would rather not involve a human in the loop there. It would be much better if it could be done without that. Oh well, I'm gonna try to find a system for this, a process. Probably will involve my assistant, at least at first. I really wish that there were a way in Zapier to like press a button on a card. Oh, you could do a card. You can do a trigger when a card goes into a different column. Okay, anyway, I'm thinking out loud now. I should be talking and so the idea is I've had it wrong. I thought something like the Gazette or the newsletter, the Purely Functional TV newsletter, was what it was taking up all of my time. But it's not. It's all the little stuff that I do as part of non-systematized work that is not really generating any value. It's not content. It's not something that people will want to, that, is increasing my revenue or increasing my authority or anything like that. It's all this other work that I'm doing because I haven't sat down and come up with a system for it. Of course, the Gazette is hugely valuable, and I've spent the time to automate it, and so now it's really easy to do. Now, that's not to say that it's not time consuming to like curate all this content. It certainly is, but that isn't where I should be focusing. I shouldn't be focusing on like not doing the Gazette. Or not, I call it the Gazette, but it's the newsletter. I should be focused on all the other stuff surrounding the content production, getting it published, all the stuff that's sort of like, it's necessary, but like doesn't really add any value, and anyone could do it. It's so systematic that anyone could do it. So today, that is what I'm really going to focus on, is setting that up to be as automated as I can. So that's going to mean sitting down with Zapier, maybe doing a little coding myself, and just getting it to be something very clear and repeatable and totally manageable by a relatively unskilled person like my assistant. Awesome. See you later. Subscribe. Press the buttons, the like buttons. That thumbs up is calling you. And please, I would love to answer your questions if you have any. Thank you so much.